Access granted.
In a survey conducted by the public opinion research firm Eviderus, KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerged as the station of choice for black audiences in the Los Angeles media market and beyond. The survey also revealed that the vast majority of black audiences are concerned about the lack of black-owned media and are more likely to listen to talk radio that focuses on issues that impact the black community. For some reason, the other talk stations haven't quite figured that out.
If you think about KFI, well, KFI only has like a 3% black listenership. 3%. So there's a good 97% out there to support a station like KBLA.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Your black. Your black.
Hey Zoe, I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to do a video today about relational blind spots as they relate to our childhood trauma. These blind spots come up in all kinds of relationships, romantic partnerships, friendships, family, even relationships with coworkers. And what do I mean by a relational blind spot is simply meaning that the way that we relate to people. When we grow up in abuse and when we grow up in childhood trauma, we grow up into adults who struggle with having some tunnel vision in the way that we perceive ourselves and the way that we perceive others. We don't see the whole picture. The most common one that I think of for trauma survivors, and I'm sure you guys will relate to this, is simply choosing bad partners simply because they express interest in us. It's almost like the concept of love bombing or something like that, that the tunnel vision is about not seeing the whole picture or who the whole person is, because our inner child is desperate to be accepted or desperate to be in a relationship. And that sort of that inner child, you know, those issues, they overdrive our built-in self-protection radar that got damaged in childhood. And we can't really that radar is there to really determine whether somebody is healthy for us or not. So we got to get that radar back online. And this video is going to be kind of a component of that. If you struggle with all that stuff, you can check out a video that I did about dating with having been raised in childhood trauma, and you can find the video either up here or up there. And I'm going to be getting into that very specific issue later in the video about choosing bad people. We also have other types of different blind spots that I'm also going to be covering as well. There are 3 of them in this video. If you're new to me or new to the channel, welcome. I'm Patrick Tian. I'm a licensed clinical therapist specializing in childhood trauma and the abusive family system. If you like this video, at the end you can hit some buttons on the screen you can't miss with any of the buttons. If you find that these videos are helpful to you in your recovery, you can support the work that goes into this channel over at my Patreon. And I don't have any third parties like promotions or anything like that from other sort of companies on this channel, because I find it mucks things up for the viewer, and I don't do any merch or any of that jazz. So that being said, you can also check out my website and find childhood trauma therapy e-coursework. If you're interested in doing that, there's a link to that in the little bubble up here. And you can also connect with me via my website. You can also connect with me via my Instagram, and you can also connect with me via TikTok. And I'll have all the links in the description below in this video. So here we go. I'm going to talk about 3 types of relational blind spots that childhood trauma survivors have. I see this a lot in my practice. I see this a lot in my own recovery. And I'm going to be going over the following items for each of those 3 that I'll be talking about. If you want to take some notes or prep your journal in some way, here are the 4 items that I'm going to get into. What the blind spot looks like, no pun intended. So it's a blind spot. How would you know? That's the first one. The second one, why it's not good for you. The third one is why you struggle with it, like getting into some family history ideas. And also the fourth one is how to work on that issue. So let's dive into it. The first one on the list, related to what I said earlier, is not fully recognizing toxicity in others as a blind spot. This one does not just apply to romantic partnerships. It can be bosses, friends, coworkers, even family, even strangers. Like the mailman or the person who cuts your hair. Before doing my childhood trauma work, I was somehow always the last person to know that a coworker was either really super sketchy or abusive to other people or something like that. Or even I was always the last to know in my friend circles that someone was sort of acting out. And when I'd find out, I'd be like baffled at that reality, meaning that it was a sign that I missed major things about people up front when other people would catch it. What this blind spot looks like, it looks like you're dating someone and at 5 months or even after the first year or something like that, like, oops, they have a sex addiction. Oops, they never have really fully broken up with their ex. Or oops, they have massive secrets. And I'm not blaming you, as these examples are being in a relationship with someone who's incredibly dishonest. But I have clients, when they're in that, I have them reflect back on how the relationship started. What were those dynamics about how the relationship started, to explore any misread flags that could have been prevalent to them, that because they were in their inner child at the time, they missed. So this is what this blind spot is about. Other examples, let's just say you have a difficult boss or a difficult coworker, but you struggle with knowing where the line is. About, is it really that toxic? Like, the boss can be awful or really off, but you never quite know if it's healthy unless someone says like, oh my God, your boss sounds like a nightmare. And why can they see it so clearly up front when we can't? How can they make that judgment on unhealthy behavior so easily when you can't? You might have a friend who is super moody or loud.
Yeah. The voice of reason returns to KBLA with yet another incendiary conversation. Listen, man, this is a conversation a lot of people don't like to have, because a lot of people are just not in a space to look at themselves, right? They're afraid to look at themselves. So the blind spot tends to be on autopilot, just in the background, wreaking havoc. Tonight's topic: what are your relationship blind spots? What are your relationship blind spots? How to see what you're not seeing. The reason why this topic is so profound and so powerful, as with other topics that I do, it intertwines into other conversations that we've had. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. Relationship is a mirror. Huh? Relationship is a mirror. And the mirrored relationships that we get into are designed to expose your blind spots. Oh, Lord. You can't see me. What are your relationship blind spots and how to see what you're not seeing? True or false? We only go blind to information that is troubling, so frightening, or so oppressed to what we believe that to absorb it would shatter our view of ourselves and the world. See how the ego protects itself? The ego wants to stay alive. So any information that we perceive or define as troubling or frightening or in opposition to our core beliefs, we reject it. We don't want our world view of ourselves or our view of ourselves and the world shattered. On the other hand, becoming fully conscious of our perceptions, simply feeling what we feel and knowing what we know is the very definition of awakening. Let me tell you something. The old way you've been taught, right? It leads to repetition. You can't learn nothing new from the old way. Listen, you can't learn nothing new from the old way. If you want to awaken, you have to get outside of your known. And it's hard to get outside of your known when you coddle the toxicity that you've come to know, that you've come to rely on, that has become your safety net. Because contrary to popular belief, most people come out of a somewhat dysfunctional situation. Even the situation people say, nah, I got two parents and they were there and da-da-da. Listen, everybody is a work in progress. Everybody has issues. When you ask your significant other for help, what do you usually ask for? What are you afraid to know about yourself? Blind spot. What is self-awareness and why should you care? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Regarding your intimate relationship with your significant other, what are you most likely wrong about? When we come forward, the voice of reason is opening up the phone lines. I want to talk to you. Talk to me. Call me and let me know what you think your blind spot is. Do you continuously date the same person over and over and over again? What are you missing? Clearly, I've got a lot to talk about.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
The clock is ticking, and there's just a few days left before God's Trying to Tell You Something comes to town.
We interrupt this program to bring you this special report. The 2 p.m. performance of God's Trying to Tell You Something is sold out.
That's the bad news. The good news is there's one last performance. Saturday, April 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Wilshire Ebell Theater.
Get your tickets now
And be in the house.
see what everybody's talking about.
All remaining seats only $50.
But hurry before they sell out again.
Tickets on sale now at eventbrite.com and godstryingtotellyousomething.com.
It's a night of theater you'll never forget.
It's God's Trying to Tell You Something.
Be a part of the live studio audience.
He's trying to tell you something.
Don't miss it.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
The sun comes up, she made my coffee in my favorite cup. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. When I'm in trouble and I have no friend, I know she'll go with me until the end. Everybody asks me how I know, I smile at them and say she told me so. That's why I know, oh I know, hallelujah, I just love her so.
And family, brothers and sisters from all over the country, the voice of reason, the place where you find difficult conversations about relationship. Come on, y'all, let's get busy. We're talking about blind spots in relationships today. Of course, that was Ray Charles. No pun intended. My playlist is my co-host. Listen. We want to have a real conversation tonight, a non-judgmental space. Get in here and tell me what you think your blind spot is. Call me, 1-800-920-1580. Agree or disagree, we all have blind spots. These are those sneaky and pesky places where you don't see yourself with clarity. A lot of people don't like to reveal this type of stuff about themselves. But I'm telling you, relationships are spiritually designed to expose just that. Now, a blind spot in psychology. The definition of a blind spot in psychology is the blind spot is a defense mechanism which prevents the recognition of one's true feelings, because in recognizing them, all the more they would become painful and persistent. Right? How you really feel. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. What are your blind spots? What are you afraid to feel? True or false, the holographic and reflective nature of relationship is the ultimate antidote for intrapersonal blind spots. How do you identify personal blind spots? Are you in a long-term relationship with somebody who refuses, the two of you might refuse, to look for your blind spots in your interaction? Do you feel like if you uncovered the blind spots, that it would ruin the relationship? Or is leaving your blind spots clandestine, working in the background, is that ruining your relationship? Woo, let's get even deeper. Can you name what you unconditionally love and accept about yourself? Is your unacknowledged blind spot preventing you from loving and accepting yourself unconditionally? 1-800-920-1580. It's about to get deep. It's about to get deep. This is about to get deep. Agree or disagree? Everyone's blind spots are different, and yet the blind spot or spots, because there could be multiple spots, right? Wow. Everyone's blind spots are different, and yet the blind spot or spots that's yours may negatively impact your ability to lead an agile team, raise a healthy human being, or be in a long-term relationship. How do you discover emotional blind spots? How many times have you gone through a breakup only to lament that you should have noticed the red flags from the beginning? You were blind to it, right? Sean from Oakland, California, get in here.
Hey, brother. So, number one, I'm going to acknowledge myself for a second here, because your theme, Zoda, is to make sure that we understand, how we take care of ourselves. And I'll tell you one thing and I didn't just have this my whole life. I just want to make sure that's clear. It took me many, many years to kind of develop the thing where, what I really like is my resilience. My resilience in the face of all kinds of crisis or challenges, right? I didn't know I had it in me necessarily, but when it happened, things happen in life. Everyone, by the way, something's going to happen in life, won't be desirable, but it's how you come out of it, how you deal with it that matters, right? So my blind spots, right? My blind spots were not recognizing how I come out of those difficulties. And mainly where I was making mistakes way back in the day was the fact that I thought I had to not acknowledge what was really going on. And so what I would tell people is be honest with yourself and all your flaws, all of them. Every single bit of your flaws, that you know damn well what are your flaws, and you be honest with them, then it doesn't mean you had to get rid of them tomorrow, get rid of them, a week or two from now. What it means is you acknowledge them.
Sean, I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
Is being honest with yourself the hardest person to be honest with?
Absolutely, brother. There's no question.
But why?
The reason why for me, I can only speak for myself. The reason why for me is because I always had to be the rock for other people around me, right? Or at least I perceived that I needed to be the rock around other people, dealing with all kinds of other stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone looked up to me for this, that, or the other, and they still do. But I have my uncle. My uncle is my rock. But I have to tell you, it's your internal, it's your own dealings, that I maybe didn't need to be the rock for everyone, but I felt as though I needed to be. So when things went bad, they look at me and I'm calm and cool, right? On the inside, I'm torn. I am like on fire. My whole everything.
So let's get even deeper. So being the rock was really a facade and a performance you kept up.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
No, there's no doubt about that. That's being honest with myself. I had to make a decision, right? Priorities and choices. how can I make this work? Now, I'm not saying I made them because I made so many mistakes, but I made some good decisions. And I think overall, if you can find it within you to kind of set an example the best you can, even when things get really bad, and if you can just perceive, if everyone's looking at you in a bad situation, like what's going on, not that you're the fault of it or anything, they're just like, what do we do now? You know, sometimes, you know, you do have to kind of like, hey, you know, not sure what to do here, but, you know, I am the rock. You can stop right here and we can figure this out. We can problem solve. And if you can problem solve with your family, with your relationships, you know, it will go a long way to having a healthier relationship
Sean,
all around.
One more time. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. Why did you create the rock facade? Why did you feel the need to have to show up and be there for everybody, even when on the inside you knew, like, man, this is probably bigger than me, probably beyond me? Was it
way bigger?
A savior complex? Go deeper. Where is the blind spot?
It's a great question. I think it is a little bit of me taking my confidence in myself to the utmost. Whether I was right or not, I just felt like there's no one else that's going to do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no one else that's going to take this role. I'm going to take this role. And as fallible as I am, and all the mistakes that I know I've made and I'm still going to make even in this situation, I'm the only one there doing anything. So at least you're giving it some effort. My whole thing is give it some effort. When you know, I think most people know when everyone's looking at you and saying, you know, hey, what next?
Right.
What's next?
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's no perfect answer, brother, but you do the very best you can. You move forward. Man. I mean, and you take it easy on everybody. Take it easy on people that you're disagreeing with, because you don't want to bring everyone down. You want to lift them up.
I love it. Hey, Sean, we appreciate the insight. First caller of the night. Sean brought Oakland, California in the building. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. Hey, this topic is heavy. This topic is deep. A lot of people don't want to have these types of conversations, and I understand why. A blind spot. How did they get past my defenses? How did they get into my life? Well, you have a blind spot. Have you identified it? Where did you get it from? Did you inherit it? Is a blind spot a generational curse, i.e. a generational task? When I come forward, I'm going to Chicago. Folks want to talk in the Windy City. Clearly, they've got a lot to talk about, too.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Kansas City, Missouri's mayor says the teenager shot by an 84-year-old white man for knocking on the wrong door to pick up his siblings was attacked for existing while black. Mayor Quentin Lucas says he's just as outraged and concerned as the many wondering why Ralph Yarl was shot. The shooter is now behind bars. Southwest Airlines is back to normal operations after a full ground stop, but delays continue to pile up. There are over 1,800 flights that have been delayed, and the airline is now playing catch-up. And Americans are seeing smaller refunds this year as tax filing season comes to a close. The IRS says it has processed around 69 million refunds through April 7th for a total of nearly $199 billion. That's around $23 billion less than last year's total of just over $222 billion. I'm Julius White on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Advance your career and earn a master's in accounting at Azusa Pacific University's Leung School of Accounting, with scholarships available and 100% job placement after graduation. There's never been a better time to advance your accounting career. Visit apu.edu today.
Access granted.
In a survey conducted by the public opinion research firm Eviderus, KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerged as the station of choice for black audiences in the Los Angeles media market and beyond. The survey also revealed that the vast majority of black audiences are concerned about the lack of black-owned media and are more likely to listen to talk radio that focuses on issues that impact the black community. For some reason, the other talk stations haven't quite figured that out.
If you think about KFI, well, KFI only has like a 3% black listenership. 3%. So there's a good 97% out there to support a station like KBLA.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the explosive, all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril. Call 800-490-7856. That's 800-490-7856. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-490-7856. 800-490-7856.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Joe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, from all over the United States, your brother Zoe Williams is live on KBLA Talk 1580 from the heart of Leimert Park. And we're having a heavy conversation. What are your relationship blind spots? Agree or disagree, most of us have such psychological blind spots, which are aspects of our personalities that are obvious to everyone but us. Listen, that's one thing that has, throughout my life, fascinated me. I remember when I was young, very young, and I was dating a young lady, and my godmother pulled me to the side after she met her. You know, they communed with each other for a little while, and then after she left, after the young lady left, my godmother came to me and said, no, not for you. She's not for you. Yes, she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. But no. And I was just fascinated because I couldn't see what my godmother could see. And she was really, Keshar is her name. She was like, look, I'm telling you, something is amiss. Something is off. She said, no, not her. Not her. And then it gets even weirder. She goes upstairs because at the time, my godmother was a manager of an apartment building. And there was a gay couple who lived on the top floor. And they chimed in from their balcony. Because they heard my godmother telling me, this is not the woman for me. And from the balcony, it was like, no, she right. That ain't, I said, what in the world? And I couldn't see it. And do you know, they were right? They were 100% right about this person. I missed everything. Then, here's another story. Happened to me when I was about 34. Oh, I was dating this just gorgeous, just incredibly gorgeous. It was one of the great loves of my life. No, I didn't listen. Every time somebody tell me, hey, this ain't for you, I don't listen. I'm hard-headed. I get it, man. I get it. So random woman out of, I was at the Poetry Lounge here on Fairfax, and I was dating one of the great loves of my life. I take the sister to the Poetry Lounge. That was one of our little hangouts. We go there on Tuesday nights, watch some poetry. It was wonderful. A random sister, poet, came up to me and said these exact words. She's gorgeous, but she's not for you. Now, I ignored her. This poet girl was 21 years old and called herself crushing on me, so I dismissed it. But she said, no. In all seriousness, brother, no, not her. No, not in front of her. No. Andy is like, in front of her face? No. Not in front of her. But she pulled me to the side and was like, yo, yeah, but nah. And I've always been fascinated. You can see what I can't see. And of course, I ignored her. And a few years later, 100% right. Proven. I went back to the Poetry Lounge 4 or 5 years later and was like, yo. She was like, I told you, didn't I? It's interesting that people in your circle can pick up things about you that you are oblivious to. Now, my question is, are you consciously oblivious? Are you trying not to pay attention to the blind spot? Let me tell you something. Relationship will expose that blind spot. This is why I say you're supposed to go into relationship looking for how you show up. It is a school. Yes, it's a fun school that has Netflix and chill. It's a fun school that has movie nights and date nights and a little slap and tickle. It has sex. It has all types of wonderful amenities, but it is still the university of you. And one of the hardest things to do is listen to the truth that originates from outside of you, yet resonates with the truth on the inside of you. 1-800-920-1580. Justin from Chicago. Bring the Windy City up in here, brother.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Man, I'm alive and well. What's cracking with you, good brother?
Wonderful. I'm just chilling. We're just sitting here listening. I took the time to write out a lot of the answers to those questions. It was a great thought exercise, and I just want to say, I appreciate that. I come from a background of I have a lot of trauma, a lot of screwed up stuff has happened, and I find that I've actually built up blind spots, and I've done it as a method of survival. And so what that's helped me with is build boundaries within my relationships that I have, my personal relationships. Now, that's different on the internet. I let my boundaries go a lot, but in my personal relationships, I keep them up. And I find that's it's been life-saving for me, and a lot of that has to do with introspection. And learning how to communicate with the people I choose to have in my life.
No, that's big, Justin. But so blind spots typically ruin boundaries. They typically create cloundries, right? That's our word for poor boundaries. We call them cloundries because you wind up clowning yourself. What you want to create are soundries, sound boundaries. And how you do that is by acknowledging and embracing the blind spot. You first acknowledge its existence. You observe it without judgment. You embrace it as a part of yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? You do not.
Definitely.
You do not. I mean, it's very interesting to hear you say you've built a blind spot, because typically blind spots are impediments to clear sight. So you can build a sound boundary by eradicating a blind spot. So it's very interesting to hear you went the reverse. Talk to me about your process.
She told me not to. Okay. So I like I said, I come from a very traumatic background. I'm used to getting I was used to getting pushed around, not believing myself, hating myself, things like that. And I learned actually mostly through using a substance called DMT, that introspection.
DMT gonna shine a light on every blind spot in your spirit. Trust me.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I've found that the use of psychedelic medicines, as well as other means, social media has actually been a big help to me. Also, and like I say, I don't carry my boundaries on social media. I let everything out that I have to. There's personal reasons for it.
But then you put up the boundaries in the relationship. Now listen, are they boundaries or barriers?
No, they're boundaries. Yeah, they're boundaries. I learned how to set boundaries throughout the years. She said, I'm gonna say it. I've been raped a few times.
Here we go.
So as a male, especially like I'm a white dude, you know, like I've been raped by men, women, you know, I've been raped by, you know, transgender people. Like I've been raped a lot. And so to be able to build up boundaries for me was a huge deal. And I could never do it. You know, like I'm on the run from the law right now, and I'm going back in 2 weeks to turn myself in because, you know, I have integrity. It's the right thing to do. I had to learn all that stuff on my own.
Wow.
You know, and now I have children in my life. I need to teach all that stuff. I have a son that I'm not allowed to see, so hopefully he'll see my internet stuff one day. He'll be like, oh, my dad was a bad you know?
Wow.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get
No,
too deep
hey,
into it.
this is a non-judgmental space, Justin. I'm glad you called in. I'm glad you're sharing. So,
thank you.
What is your process for healing? Because if you've gone through all this trauma, right? What is your process for healing? And if you don't mind me asking, what did you do to be on the run from the law?
Yeah. Firstly, I write a lot. I paint. Since I've been in Chicago, I've been painting with the kids a lot. I do a lot of writing, poetry and such. I don't have big attention span, so, you know, I write some small things. To get into the law, I accidentally robbed my own bank. I went in. I was coming off of using methamphetamine, and I was about 3 days off. But I walked about 2 miles to get to the bank because I didn't have a car. It was better that way. And I went to withdraw money from my own account, and I walked in, and I'm like, I was kind of aggro because, you know, I was having kind of a bad day. But I was like, is my stimulus check in my account? She said, your stimulus check is not in your account. I was like, okay, well, just give me whatever's on hand then. And so what she did was she took that to mean that I was robbing her, and she's like looking for money. I'm just like, come on. And so she gave me a stack of $500. I walked out the bank.
So you didn't really,
I didn't really rob
I'm
the
thinking
bank.
when you say rob a bank, I'm thinking set it off. Like you went in there and you took $500 that the lady handed to you. Okay.
Yeah, I shouldn't have walked out of the bank with it. Like by that time, I realized what was going to happen. But it was a bad day. I didn't care.
Man. You got to turn yourself in. They're probably not going to. You're probably going to get a slap on the wrist, especially if you give them the money back.
I'm already on probation.
Oh.
I have probation for like the next 5 years or something. So.
Oh wow!
I'm going to do the right thing. You know, I got to show the kids the right thing to do. But I left on I ran away on principle. You know.
Wow. Please do the right thing, Justin. Let me just say this, man.
Most definitely.
You have made this one of the most incredible calls of the Voice of Reason since our inception. I appreciate you, Justin. I hope everything works out well for you, brother. Wow, this was heavy. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call the Voice of Reason at 1-800-920-1580. When I come forward, more on Blind Spots.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
The California Black Chamber of Commerce is helping to expand broadband access. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by Lendistry. Story courtesy of CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. The California Black Chamber of Commerce is joining hands with California state government to help narrow its digital divide by helping push the state's middle mile broadband initiative through the Broadband Technology Small Business Initiative. It connects CBCC's statewide membership of 5,500 plus small African American business firms and non-Black entities to the benefits of broadband technology. 2020 Internet Access records that 15% of Black Californians had zero internet access. And another program known as the Affordable Connectivity Program makes qualifying households eligible for $30 a month toward internet service. Visit fcc.gov/ACP for more.
thanks to our new sponsor, Lendistry. Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered in Los Angeles. Lendistry helps small business owners access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit Lendistry, LENDISTRY.com/KBLA today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The all-new Nissan Ariya is a fully loaded EV. It's brimming with style and power.
Up to 389 horses of it.
Innovation and intelligence.
E-Force all-wheel drive.
It'll pin you to your seat.
Your very plush seat.
The all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya. Nissan Ariya with E-Force expected availability early 2023. E-Force cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. E-Force and 389 horsepower available on Platinum Plus. Nissan calculation using 1-foot rollout testing with long-range battery and E-Force only in sport mode with E-Step off. These results are for comparison only and should not be attempted on public roads. Drive responsibly. See nissanusa.com for details.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar,
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Bad boys, what you want, what you gonna do when Sheriff John Brown come for you? Tell me what you wanna do, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Yo!
What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys.
The voice of reason. Let me just say this, man. Shout out to Justin. We gonna dedicate this record to Justin, man, from Chicago, Illinois. The voice of reason returns. We're talking about how to identify, personal blind spots, emotional blind spots, psychological blind spots. And there are some ways, right? And even Justin, spoke on one of them when he was talking about the creation of his personal boundaries. And that is self-reflection or mindfulness, taking time out. But another one, to be able to see your blind spots or discover your blind spots is, some positive feedback. Some constructive feedback, some truthful feedback. And again, the feedback comes from people who are able to observe things about you that you yourself are oblivious to. It is obvious to them, but oblivious to you. And having those types of discussions will, put you on the path to discovering blind spots that you may not have known existed within your psyche. So it's it's a good thing to do if you're not afraid. It's not for the faint of heart. And then I would say, and I'm a big fan of journaling because I write down a lot of ideas and concepts. What if you had a downside journal or a weakness journal? A journal where you journaled about the discovery of your weaknesses. Every time you discovered something about you that, showed that, you have a weakness in you, right? What if you journaled about it, right? And I'm saying all your journals have to be non-judgmental, in my opinion, because you don't want to, infuse your psyche with negative self-talk. But a journal that outlines your weaknesses. Because every weakness you have, I promise you, is like mold in an apartment. The relationship is the apartment. The weakness you have will grow and fester in the walls of that relationship if they are not reconciled. Internal self-awareness represents how clearly we see our own values, passions, aspirations, and how they fit in our environment, our reactions, including thoughts, feelings, behaviors, strengths, and weaknesses, and how they impact others, right? A lot of people don't want to be self-aware. They don't want to be internally self-aware. It's a struggle for many people. Most people are focused on external self-awareness, how I look to other people, right? How people view me, right? How I want to be perceived in a certain way, right? They'd rather not be locked into the internal self-awareness process that is constantly revealing aspects of your character, aspects of how you get down with self. Nah, it's all a performance, right? You have to be aware of these things, because when you get into a relationship and none of this stuff is dealt with, you're going to see that first argument, you're going to show up in ways that you didn't even know were possible for you to do. When I come forward, hour number 2, callers, questions. What are your relationship blind spots? Here we go.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Kansas City, Missouri's mayor says the teenager shot by an 84-year-old white man for knocking on the wrong door to pick up his siblings was attacked for existing while black. Mayor Quentin Lucas says he's just as outraged and concerned as the many wondering why Ralph Yarl was shot. The shooter is now behind bars. Southwest Airlines is back to normal operations after a full ground stop, but delays continue.